a list.
Thought of that if you want me to.
You know, it can be printed, or if I do a roll.
Whatever works for you. I do see some names I'm not familiar with, so maybe it would be best if you did do a roll call.
Okay. All right. I will. At one point during the meeting, I will. Thank you. All right.
Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Welch School Building Committee meeting. Today is Thursday, July 16th. We are meeting remotely as required under the social distancing rules. And this meeting is being broadcast by the PBD Access TV. There will be a chance during this meeting, if members of the public wish to ask a question, you can go to the, there's a chat, a chat connection where you can write a question in, and we will attempt to answer any questions. This is going to be a fairly brief meeting. The topics today are routine, and what we're doing mainly is meeting with this full school building committee to bring everyone up to date as to the progress on the Welch School project, and to let you know what's coming next week. We're reaching another milestone on the project. So what I'm going to do at the moment, if you can hold on a second. Let's see, we've called the meeting to order at, what is what, 9:02? And the first item of business would be approval of the June 11th meeting minutes. And I'd be looking for a motion from one of the members and a second.
So moved.
I'll make the motion. I'll
Okay.
second it then.
Oh, okay. So the motion was made by Jim Hafey and seconded by Ed Colbert. All right. Thank you. And on that one, we will take, let's see, we're going to do a roll call vote. Jim Hafey,
Yes. Did you get me? Yes?
I did. I'm trying to see who's here. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Josh Vidala.
Yes.
Okay. Pete McGinn.
Yes.
Ed Colbert.
Yes.
Okay. Let me see. Joe Scanlon.
Yes.
Okay. Jillian Gonzalez.
Yes.
Okay. Now I know I'm missing some folks. Who am I missing? Let's see.
Is the mayor on?
Yes, I'm on.
Oh, all right. Thank you. Maybe I can quit. I'm sorry. I didn't realize who that was. Okay. And actually, that's pretty much all the voting. Well, actually, Mayor Betancourt, I can take your vote on the minutes. Do you approve the minutes of June 11th?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, those are all the members who vote, and everyone, okay. So the minutes are approved. So I'm going to turn this over and ask Mike Burton or Christina Del Angelo from Durham Whittier to give us a good overview of where we've been, what we've done, and where we're going.
Yeah, I'm trying to share my screen right now. So I'm waiting for Rachel to give me hosting capabilities so I can share the presentation. Rachel, can you change myself to screen share capabilities?
Sure, 1 second. I think I just changed you as the host.
Perfect, thank you. All right, can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Just so everyone's aware, I did send out an email last night with an FTP link to all of the meeting materials that we're going to be looking at today. So they're all within that FTP SharePoint link that I had sent out. So you can open it on your computer if you'd like to. Okay, so we're really here today to talk about our designer selection update and where we stand as far as our DSP meeting that we're going to be having next week with the MSBA on the 21st. And so just so everyone is aware, and I'm sure you saw the email regarding this, we received 3 proposals for the designer services, and that included a proposal from Danisco Design, Miller Dyer Spears, and Slam Collaborative. And so, as you know, our full SBC elected to approve an RFS subcommittee, designer subcommittee, and that consisted of Joe Scanlon, Beth Griffin Dunn, Beth McGivern, Pete McGinn, Jim Hazy, and Dan Doucette. And so over the past 3 weeks or so, we have met several times with that subcommittee to review the proposals and ultimately come up with kind of a scoring matrix for the different designers to ultimately make a recommendation to the 3-member DSP group as far as how the SBC and the project would like to proceed as far as a recommendation for a specific designer. And so I'm going to go ahead and bring up the sheet that shows the different scoring criteria and how the subcommittee ranked the proposal and the 3 different proposals, and ultimately how that group would like to make a recommendation to the full SBC as well as the 3 DSP members. Can everyone see this scoring matrix sheet that I have in front of me?
Yes.
Okay. So you can see that it's broken up by the different designers, and that these are the evaluation criteria points that we thought were important while the members were evaluating the different proposals. And then you can see the members of the group and what their scores were as they evaluated the different proposals. So I did just put all of the designers in alphabetical order. It happens to be that Danisco Design did rank the highest as far as out of the 3 proposals, with an average overall point of 96.7. So ultimately, you know, high considerations for what was important for the designer services included MSBA experience, core project experience, elementary school experience, prevalent also as far as experience with renovation projects, addition renovation projects. And I believe everyone was on the same page as far as they read through the proposal that you could see that Danisco Design had put a lot of effort into their proposal, and you could see how much information that they had from just working on previous projects within the city of Peabody, and their experience as far as understanding how the city of Peabody would look at this project from that point. So I don't know if any of our subcommittee members want to add in specifically as far as how they evaluated Danisco Design's proposal, just to provide some updates to the full SBC.
Just before that goes on, can you just show Miller Dyer's final count and then all the way down at the bottom, just so everybody knows? So Danisco's 96.7, Miller Dyer 86, and Slam Collaborative was a 59.8.
Right.
So maybe some of the members could share some of their thoughts on reviewing the proposals, and I think everybody on the call was made available and has probably looked at some as well. So why don't we just open it up to the group to talk about comments on how our scoring matrix has ranked them.
Pete or Dan, would you like, I'm sorry, Jim. Pete or Jim, would you like to go?
Hey, everybody. Yeah, I thought it was pretty clear where we were going with this from the beginning, looking at all 3 of the proposals. Pete, I'm looking at yours. It's almost identical to mine here. But I thought it was SLAM was out of contention just because of their lack of experience with the elementary schools or with the core programs. That kind of bumped them right out, even though they had some pretty good scoring in there. And the difference between MDS and Danisco was more outweighed by Danisco's relative experience with the city. I felt that weighed in there pretty well. MDS seemed like a decent company, though.
Mhm. Okay.
Yeah, I would agree with Jim's assessment. I think, the alignment across the reviewers here kind of speaks for itself. I think that's kind of a strong indicator of the preferred alternative as far as from the city's perspective.
Mhm. And I'll be honest, Beth McGivern unfortunately was unable to make today's meeting. She had a real last minute conflict come up. Her comments would be very good as well because yesterday at our small subgroup meeting, when we talked about the individual things we noted in each of these reports, um, I wish she was here because she had brought up a lot of things that many of us also saw. Some of the things that I saw in evaluating the three proposals with Danisco, some of the one item that really stuck out in my mind in their proposal was that they were they understood we had a demanding time schedule and that they were used to working under demanding time schedules. All along, we've made it very clear to people that we want to follow an aggressive production on this, that we have worked very diligently with the MSBA to stay within their time frames to make sure that we're meeting all of the deadlines on the earliest possible deadlines. And Danisco had picked up on that. They also spoke about the practical cost effective solutions, which is another thing that we're looking at. We want to make sure that we have a practical project here, nothing extravagant. We're very mindful of the cost. And just their overall presentation, they had a lot of projects that had a lot of the same components or features that we have talked about with the Welch. MDS had a nice presentation as well. They did not have as much experience as Danisco. Um, they spoke of green design. They spoke about that. They had a nice presentation about the use of the electricity in the building, which was really a really good point that they made. And they talked a lot about phased occupied construction, which also falls in with some of the things that we're concerned about with this project. And they did a nice job on their presentation as well. Slam Collaborative was very difficult to follow. Personally, it was a difficult proposal as far as being able to compare it with the others. And I think the other members also spoke about some of the difficulties they had looking at SLAM and being able to evaluate on the the pieces that we have in our RFS and the parts that we wanted to evaluate in our matrix. It was I can't explain it, just probably a different style, but they had no experience with the core program, and that's a big worry because with the MSBA there are a lot of very precise requirements, and they have their rules. And looking at the experience of the other designers, that is probably going to help us a lot because basically, in my opinion, when I evaluated them, I wanted someone that knew how to hit the ground running. Seriously, jump in, do this project, work with us. We wouldn't need to hold hand. We wouldn't need to have them learning on our time or on our dime. I wanted people who had good experience with an OPM on a project like this because Doreen Whittier plays a big part in this project as well. So that was how I conducted my evaluation.
Bev, it's Mike. One point that Beth brought up yesterday, which I thought was very important, is that of all the proposals, Danisco really hit on the wetlands impact and the fact that we're in a floodplain and understanding having it, Higgins and other projects gone through Conservation Commission, and sort of having somebody who knows this conscom and has done it and has that understanding, I think is hugely important. So I just wanted to add that comment from Beth.
Actually, you're right. I was trying to remember what Beth had said, and that was a really good point. They had a great description of the wetlands and how, they're very aware of the surroundings. And they've got experience with this type of project or a type of um, environmental concerns. And that was a good point. And Beth had spoken about that as well. And I'll be honest, Beth would know because Beth, of all the teachers at the school, and I know Kevin Mclaughlin, I know you're on here. Beth always brought her classes. All the teachers at the Welch always brought their classes out to work on science projects and different projects around the school. And she had a real affinity for the surroundings of the school and how her classes were using those. So she really is someone who would actually kind of pinpoint that and did bring it forward in the discussion.
Do any of the other members have any questions, comments? Okay, so hearing none. So just to recap, so we're going to see the MSBA designer selection panel on the 21st. I believe our start is 11:05 a.m. Christina's coordinating attendees and so forth who want to listen in. It is a public meeting. That information is all available. If you haven't received it, let us know. And so just as a reminder, we're going to send 3 members to be part of the designer selection panel. We've gone over some talking points to bring up at the DSP, and essentially what the DSP will do is they will open up the discussion. They'll talk about the project. They'll probably dive right into the first proposal, and they go through them individually. And so working with our subgroup, we're going to just make sure that we've got pros and cons listed for each. And so as we go through them and they go around the table, and when it's our turn, we have the talking points ready to go. And then after we go through the 3, there will be an opportunity for the district to provide sort of a closing and a final analysis. And so that's also what we've gone through as a group and talked about those points. And so that I'm just going to pause right there and see if anybody has any questions.
And just so everyone's aware too, we're on at 11:05, and our piece of the meeting is only for 40 minutes. So that is the time they've allotted for our project for their review of the proposals.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to explain to the other members that meeting on Tuesday with the MSBA would normally be one where we would, of course, meet in person. And the 3 people from Peabody who are the representatives of the school building committee are Mayor Betancourt, Superintendent Vidala, and me. We're going to be presenting via Zoom or online presentation. And there is an 11-member panel of MSBA representatives. So those 14 people are the ones who will be discussing the proposals. And then at that time, at the conclusion of that meeting, actually, I'm not sure whether they take a vote at that moment, or I know the 3 of us have a vote, which of course we will be supporting the the number one choice of the committee. We'll be advocating for that. But they have 11 votes on this. And they will either vote on Tuesday and let us know immediately who the designer will be, or there is a meeting in August. I think it's 2 weeks after that, when they announce the
8/4, yeah.
yeah. And so the people on this committee, you are all welcome to view that meeting. Again, it's a public meeting. We have the link, or we will have the link to that meeting so that you can watch it and see what goes on. The only thing is no one else would be able to speak. It's just limited to those people at the table, so to speak. Oh, and Dan, you
Yeah.
had something to add.
Two things. One is that I saw the mayor as he came into City Hall yesterday, and it appraised him of the 11 o'clock start time on Tuesday, and he's on board with that. The second is kind of a point of order. I really think that even if we could not find it was required, I think the building committee should vote on that we are presenting 3 proposals to the MSBA, just as a formality, in case at some point they say, well, did the school building committee approve the transmittal of the 3 names? And I would like to suggest that be a motion from a member of the panel.
Actually, Dan, that's probably not a bad idea. Would anyone, Dan can't vote, just so people know, but would one of the voting members of the committee like to make that motion?
So moved.
Okay, motion by Jared Hockman. And can I have a second?
Second.
Second by, I'm sorry, who was it?
That was me, Josh.
Oh, okay, thank you, Josh. Okay, so the motion has been made and seconded. The motion is to support the selection of the 3 proposals that we're bringing forward. And we'll do a roll call vote on that. You folks can hold on. Okay.
Bev,
Yes.
I'm wondering if we should add to the motion that the full SBC is in agreement with the recommendations provided by the subcommittee and the scoring matrix.
Yes.
If I could suggest that the scoring matrix be left off of any motion, simply because my reading of the MSBA procedures are, we're doing this informally, and they actually have some guidance that sounds like you were not supposed to do a ranking in the manner that we're doing it. I think it's helpful. It certainly backs up what we bring to the MSBA, but I don't think it should be in the motion. In the motion, any mention of a matrix having been created.
Okay, and another good point. I would entertain a motion to amend the original motion to include the language that the full school building committee is in support of the recommendation of the selection subgroup.
Yep, that's fine, Bev. I'll amend my original motion to include language that you just mentioned.
Okay, thanks, Jared. All right. And Josh, would you support that with a second as well on the amendment?
Yes, second the new motion.
All right. Okay, so now we will take a vote on that. So the motion has been made and seconded. Roll call, Jared Hockman,
Yes.
Jim Hafey,
Yes.
Ed Colbert,
Yes.
Ted Betancourt, Teddy, you're muted.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Jillian Gonzalez,
Yes.
Joe Scanlon,
Yes.
thank you. Josh Vidala,
Yes.
okay. And Pete McGinn,
Yes.
okay. And that's a roll call of all the members present who vote. All right. Thank you. And we will use that vote and that information if the MSBA inquires into that. And thank you all for supporting this. The people who served on that subcommittee did a lot of research on this, and it it was a good process. What Dan was talking about, it's not really clear with the MSBA what they require, but this seemed like a really good way to be able to evaluate all of those proposals on an equitable basis and compare and contrast on many of the same items that we actually took the language from the RFS. So it was with the utmost care and concern to do that properly. And also another factor is that really was interesting. No one was allowed to speak to each other about the scoring. So afterwards, when we were able to see those scores, it was surprising and actually kind of comforting, because if you know when you're scoring things, you wonder, oh, am I in the ballpark? What am I doing? Am I doing it right? It was really very nice to see how everyone seemed to zone in on the same things and concentrate on the same factors in those proposals. So I want to assure everyone, I feel very confident with the way that this was done and the way that the decision was made. And, hope you all feel the same way. When you look at those proposals, you probably saw a lot of what we saw as well. Okay, Christina and Mike, is there anything further on that specific issue on the selection update?
I'll just make sure I get the link out to the full committee so that they can watch the interviews. And so as soon as I have that, I'll make sure I share that with everyone.
Okay.
And I'll also share the agenda so everyone's aware of our time as far as for our specific interviews, which is at 11:05.
Very good.
Just to emphasize the point on the link. The link is to actually send an email to a member of staff at MSBA. They do their participation by invitation only. But the link is very clear as to how to do that. So it'll be chunked out of the letter that the 3 members of the selection panel received from the MSBA. And then those of us who want to kind of look over their shoulders, we'll have to get an invite from you send the request for an invite to MSBA.
Right. And I'll explain all of that in the email that I send out to the full committee.
I think it's
Okay,
the internet equivalent of that security check when you come in the building and they won't let you in the elevator without proof of citizenship, residency, fingerprints.
Yeah,
I didn't let it go.
All right, and I just wanted to add just one other point. So just so the committee is aware, this first meeting with the DSP on the 21st can and most likely will result in holding interviews at the August 4th meeting, which I think Bev touched on. And so currently we have our next full SBC meeting scheduled for Thursday, August 13th. Should we come out of the meeting on the 21st and, for some reason they don't decide to interview, we may pull that SBC meeting up, but we're going to have to stay tuned and see what happens on the 21st.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Next topic.
Okay.
Yep.
So just the next item I had on our agenda was just our working groups update. So this is that survey that they sent out at our first meeting to our full SBC, just asking you to provide some information as far as meeting materials, working groups, goals, etc. And so this is just a recap of some of the members that have filled out that questionnaire and provided the different working groups that they'd like to be a part of. This is an ongoing list, obviously. So as we, hire a designer and start working with these subcommittees, obviously we're welcome to have members join the different groups as we proceed with the project. We just have to be mindful that any working groups, per meeting minute law, we want to make sure is less than a quorum. So I think we're good with what we have right now. And of course, we can definitely have any members join any groups that they'd like to.
Could I suggest that another working group be set out for what I would have said just security prior to recent events? I'd say health and security, simply because it's now really at the forefront of everything we're doing, is physical security, health security, that sort of thing that brings in the police for things like traffic. So I would suggest that be another group that we set up. And I think we had, Bev, if you correct me if I'm wrong, I think we had a group just dealing with security issues when we were at the Higgins.
We did. We actually did. And it worked out really well. And I think you're right, Dan. We should have a working group to do that and add in the health, because it goes hand in hand with current events.
Absolutely. Yeah, no problem. I will add that group. And then if anyone would like to participate, please just let me know and I will make sure that you're part of that subcommittee.
Okay.
And so next on our agenda is any other topics. Does anyone have anything else they'd like to talk about today?
Oh, I can let you know that we're going to have a couple of changes on the committee. People are moving along, and so we'll keep you apprised of that as it goes along. But if anybody ever does have a need to step off the committee, don't hesitate to let us know. And we understand situations change, and by law, we have to notify MSBA within a certain time frame of that. So just to be mindful of that.
Okay, thanks, Bev.
Thanks, Christina. Okay. I don't think there's anyone from the public. Let me just look at that participant. Everyone on here. Everyone on here is a member of the committee or of Dora Whittier. Dora and Whittier. And I would like to welcome Kevin Mclaughlin, the assistant principal at the Welch. Thanks for coming, Kevin. So if there is no public comment, we can reiterate our next meeting. You did hear a description of what may or may not happen.
Right, and so this is like what Mike said, subject to change, and we'll definitely let the full committee know if anything happens right away, so that we can reschedule if necessary.
Yep. All right. Very good. If there's nothing else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay, motion by Jared Hockman. Thank you, Mr. Hockman. Is there a second?
Second.
Thanks, Josh. Okay, everyone. I hope you have a good day and a good weekend, and looking forward to Tuesday. That's going to be a big day.
Yes, thank you so much, everyone, for your time this morning. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.